it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We have with us a wonderful guest, a very last minute Facebook Live, just in consciousness, like last minute every time. Welcome, Laleh. So very happy to be having this conversation with you. Thank you for pinging and thinking of me and like coming online and doing this with me so last minute. I'm super excited for what we're going to be speaking about.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone.
So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Dubai, and then my host speaks to me about this class that you're coming up with, and then it's called Conscious Vaginas, right? And then it was something I was super curious about the moment she spoke about it, and I was like, wow, like what is it? And then this shows up today. So I'd like to know everything. Like, how did this start? Like, what was the thing? Like, how did you come about something like a conscious vagina? Like, what got you to create something like that?
Yeah, it actually has a cool story. It started in a Right Voice for You class. I was facilitating a 3-day class in Avignon, France. And what was so funny is, we all know we're right now in a group that knows we ask questions, and it's about empowering people to know what they know. It's empowering bodies, it's empowering oneness, and so many other things. And with Right Voice for You, it also opens up a lot of places where you don't even know your voice could be locked up somewhere, locked up within your body or locked away, or, you facilitate people who are sharing their voice differently, and many who discover a voice they didn't even know they ever had. And during those 3 days, it didn't matter if I had male participants or female. I was constantly facilitating them to unlock their voices in their genital parts,
Yeah.
And it became a joke. Actually, in the class, we kept saying, okay, I think I need to call Gary and say, I need to create a class called the Right Vagina for You class. And, it was so funny because even though I was facilitating beings in male bodies in this lifetime, what was interesting is the more we unlocked and did clearings about the vagina, parenting, all these things, it was more about the female body that was clearing. And we all know in some lifetime, maybe different than this one, we had maybe a different kind of body. And so with it started as this facilitation and also like humor. And I just stayed in the question. And what was interesting is I noticed I ended up facilitating and doing sessions for people more and more about where they were, locking their voice and other things in their genitals. And a few months later, I saw Gary at a 7-day in Costa Rica. And I was like, Gary, can I ask you a question? And he says, sure. And I said, the vagina keeps popping in my classes and in my sessions. What do you perceive if I facilitate classes on vagina? And he does the Gary thing where it's this instant, he's asking a question and he immediately said, yes, go do it. And I was like, cool. And back then I had no clue some of what's really come out, because really there was no expectation. There was no figuring out what conscious vagina was even going to be. And at the time, I didn't even know it was going to be called this. We called it something different initially. And then this is the energy it desired. And I started with intros. And what was so funny is the first intro was about anonymous. We were going to do it on a webinar, and people didn't have to have their pictures, and we didn't put it on social media at all. It was just people were privately invited to the class, and nobody cared about that. They were telling their friends, they were talking about it on social media. And this anonymous thing was like, no, it was about get the voice of this out there. It's not about making it anonymous. And that was, I think, 4 years ago. And it's been amazing to watch the transformation since then,
I'm so sure because like, as you started speaking, like it's such a huge topic, yet at the same time, there can be so many things with this. Like, have you dealt with like there's that whole sexual healing bit, and then there's also like, have you dealt with women who've had, say, PCOD and fertility related issues, and like have you seen some changes with like how this class speaks to things like that?
Because this is an access specialty class that I get the great privilege of facilitating. And so everything comes up. Like it's interesting because when we take access classes, I think it's the first space most of us notice we can really be vulnerable, but we also have a choice that we don't have to say anything at all. We could just be in the class and just the energies kind of takes over, right? This class, I've had people who've been CFs for more than 10 years take this class and have a level of vulnerability that they weren't willing to be or have in other classes. It's a class, the intro has no prereqs. We have a lot of people who come that don't even have any access background or haven't even had their bars run, every class is so different. And intros, I've had, molestation conversations, different kind of, like you said, infertility. We had people who thought they wanted to have a baby, but then they realized it didn't belong to them. And all the abuse they'd been putting on their bodies and locking it in got to release, One class we had about 6 months ago, it was a woman who's done a lot of access. It was an intro class. And from the minute we started the class, she was like, somebody please run my bars. And like, she was going kind of crazy about getting her bars run. And I was just tapping into her. And as we were clearing different people, and then she was like, I have to ask a question. And then we start to realize like some of what was coming up in her body of wanting to be released was the birth canal. It was the moment this body was coming into the world. And we started to clear that. And so it's just like, you never know, some people come because they want to have better sex, copulation with others. Some come because they don't even know why they're coming. Some come because it is about, an abuse or something that they would like to change. I've had women with things going on. They had to have hysterectomies or they didn't have their menstrual cycle anymore. Like everything shifts and changes based on what they're willing to allow shift and change. And so the transformations are pretty cool to how different and diverse these classes are,
Yeah. As I immediately realized how that question was, like it's access and it's probably one of the first spaces where there is no judgment, and the level of sex and no sex that in general people live with, like how many people are truly free in their genitals, like how many people lock up crap. And then that's such a cool invitation. Like that's so cool. It's like, what have you, so it's a 3-hour class, right? It's a 2-3 hour class. It's like an intro class and does it have a prerequisite? Can anyone attend it? How does it work?
So I will tell you, we've had many men that take this class.
I was
So
gonna
this
ask you.
class,
Yeah.
this class has had lots of children, teenagers, male and female. Okay. And so the intro has no prerequisites at all whatsoever. It's just that someone who's choosing the class and coming. The one day does have the prereq of the intro before, because what ends up happening is when I do a 1.5 day, there's so much shift and change and forward movement of consciousness and oneness with their body that gets created in the intro, that if they haven't been part of that and just jump into the one day, it doesn't work.
Right.
So that's the prereq is on the one day, but not the intro. And years ago, I think I was facilitating for 1.5 years, and I had a lot of men who messaged me and they said, please, can you call this conscious vagina and conscious penis? And I asked the creation and it was like, no. Like, okay. But it's conscious vagina and more. Because, it's not just about your genitals. It is about stopping the judgment of you and your body. like any part of your body, like there's some people who actually enjoy looking in the mirror afterwards because they no longer have a judgment of their look. They have a different space and oneness in this communion with their body. So it's no longer the way they viewed themselves from the past. And by that, they notice their business life changes, their money flows change because they're receiving with their body shifts and changes. And then I've had others who call me or message me. I've had husbands, wives, girlfriend, boy, well, you name it, that they message me and thank me for the fact that the intimacy between them shifted and changed, or people who met people in a bar and it was so much more fun and playful, and copulation ended up being more from the space of oneness with their body than to it's just a physical, I'm here, we're engaging and we're having copulation.
That's such a wonderful energy. Like, as you said, it's like such a gateway to receiving, like literally, like, being clear. And that's so cool. And one of the other things you mentioned when you were speaking was, I also know that you're a right voice for you facilitator. And how has that been? And is that something, like, what do you have to say about the right voice for you class? Because it's one of my favorite classes. I love it. And it's like, yeah.
I do too. And it's funny, I've been a right voice facilitator for many years. And for me, it's not that it was a long time ago that I was shy. My from the age of 7, when I left my country because of a revolution, I had a choice: be quiet and timid and stay at home, or get to know as many people in the world as possible, because I don't know how long I'm in this new country. That's been my motto in life, actually. And I realized when I first came to Access, I would take like an intro to Right Voice for You, but the back then it was 2.5 day and it got changed to 3 day, was something like I didn't think I required. It was just because public speaking, I could talk to strangers, like it was. Then I realized there's a whole world to Right Voice I hadn't really acknowledged until I started to take the 2.5, 3 day classes, and taking it to a whole new world, a whole new level of receiving me, receiving in my voice. And as outgoing as I was, I never realized all the ways I was holding back my voice, and it really became also the voice of me. It's the voice of the business. It's the voice of relationship, voice of the earth. Like, it's not just one thing. And personally, for me, I'm not going to talk about anyone else. It really is about you being you. And you melt these masks. Now we talk about different people, and the images. Yeah. But we were talking about this in Right Voice years before that. It really is removing the mask and being you, but being very aware. Like, one thing for me with Right Voice for You, it's a very interactive class. We bring the tools of foundation to life, and how to be you, not just have it be in a book. Like, we have a lot of tools and foundation, which I love. I'm going to be facilitating soon again, but it's different. It like takes it to a whole new space when you engage from no longer it's just a process, right, to be the tools. Even the energy pools are so different when you engage in Right Voice. And Right Voice has its own, everyone has their own view of what that is. But for me, it's this playful energy.
Absolutely. And like, I think I have a very similar story. I really never thought it was a class that was relevant to me, but then I was shocked and how, like, it's one of those classes which, I mean, I resonate with everything you say. Like, it truly allows you to be more of you, and in a way that is so different, and something that's available in those 3 magical days, I think is so cool. You have one coming up, Laleh. There's one Right Voice for You coming up. Can you share with us details? Like, when is it, and can people do this online?
Yeah. So with the 3 day, you have to be in person. Okay. But this is a 1 day class we're doing on Friday, and you're welcome to join us online as well. It's actually called empowering you to have your voice in your life.
Wow.
And yeah, it came about because so many people are willing to have a voice when it comes to business or when it comes to someone else or facilitating someone else. But then they were talking about how many people, like, especially like in Dubai and other places, like, yes, I can be me, but then I have to get permission from my brother or my father to do certain things,
Mm.
to travel, to do this, to spend money. Like, I was married too, and I actually made more than double what he made when we got married,
Mm.
So we came into the relationship in a different story than most people come in.
Right.
But I even realized how much this was way before Access, how much it is like shifting the role to where the man has to be the one in charge of the money, and Peter, he couldn't care less about these things. It had nothing to do with him and his points of views, but it was more from some society and this reality. And I was the financial leader of our family. However, I still had to tell him things. And I realized, I'm like, what is this? Like, he doesn't even care about these things. But I realized how often, like, we're select about where we're willing to empower ourselves to have our voice.
Boom. Meme, whatever else. I love it.
And yeah, so I wonder, what's possible. And I'm going to tell you guys, I had a 15-year-old who messaged me who's in Russia. And she says, my mom's not choosing classes. I am. And, can I be part of your class? And we started to talk, and it was so interesting that it's happening already. Like the next generation is realizing they cannot wait. And she created money for the conscious vagina class. Like, it's just this thing that if we're willing, nothing can ever be an excuse, including money. So what is it that we're each choosing? Whatever it is, it's not right, it's not wrong. But what if we empowered ourselves to know that no matter how amazing we are, no matter what we have a voice in, no matter what the voice of our business is, what if it could be better? What if it is this thing of how does this get any better than this, like truly in action to beyond the best of what you can imagine, like truly this other thing. And I'll say it. There's a right voice for you facilitator. He put in our chat. It was so cute. He's like, this right voice thing actually might work. And I was laughing my ass off when I read it. He goes, I asked, okay, consciousness. I'm not going to hide anymore. Let's play. What contribution can I be to consciousness? And then he got the ping to do a video about 10 seconds. So he did a video. And in 2 days, it had 1.1 million viewers. Okay, what's our excuse? Like that's just what he was asking for. You don't have to have 1 million viewers. It's not about that. But what are you not asking for? What if you would give you permission to have the voice in your asks? What does your body want to ask for? What does your business want to ask for? What does the infinite being you be want to know and ask for? And I guarantee you it's going to look so different than what most of us have made be the best of this reality.
Yeah. That's, yeah, all of that. And then what else is possible? It's so cool as you say that. Laleh, we have a lot of Indian women watching this. And then there is obviously the whole conversation around all the funk around, say, sex in India and the whole thing. Is there anything you want to tell them? Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, okay. I don't want to tell you anything, but I would like to invite you to ask, what else is actually your body asking for? Because, many cultures have many things. And some of you guys know, some of you don't know. I was born in Iran. And with the revolution, we moved to France, and then we moved to America. And even though I lived an American supposed life, you know, my dad was very strict. My mom had her own points of views about a lot of things. So it was this kind of like being raised in a very traditional, very strict family, while other things weren't. It was so funny. And I realized even for me, the talk about sex didn't happen until the night before I got married. And I was like, this is so weird. Why is she having this conversation with me now? And, you know, each of us have honored whatever we've honored, whether it's ourselves, others, our culture, our religion. What if that's okay? But just this moment, this 10 seconds, what would create more for you and your body? Because conscious vagina is not about you saying, oh, it's about me, and then goodbye to everyone else. It's like, what if it actually is about communion with everything, with no more separation of you and your body? And when we're willing to do it from that space, you get to choose what's going to work for you. And there is a lot of sexualness energy. But if you guys remember, sexualness is that living energy, the enthusiasm, the joy, the communion we have with the earth. And so when we are willing to add more living energy with our genitals as well, what else is possible?
Thank you so much for that. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's like, what will it take for there to be more conscious everything, like, you know, more freedom with vaginas and penises and everything, and all the locked upness. That's so cool. We will make sure that the information is available in the comments and you guys can join this. Thank you so much for doing this last minute, Laleh. Extremely grateful. We'll look forward to see you in India and have you in India with us and in live, in person too.
To it. And thank you. And you know, one thing I like to share, actually, if I have an extra minute with you, is this gift that you're being. You know, our world of oneness has absolutely no difference of what we chose in this lifetime. And you know, it was really interesting. There was the Dane did this 30 days of ESB, you know, energetic synthesis of being. And the first one he did, he started at one point of it, he was talking and someone said something. And he said, oh gosh, I have to paraphrase. This is not his exact words, but it was like, I've known you for more than 4 trillion years. Why would I give up on you now?
Wow.
We've known each other for more than 4 trillion years. And what if it doesn't matter what we've chosen yesterday, 4 years ago, 10 million years ago? What are we going to choose now? And what else is possible we've never considered before? And one thing I've realized is that the universe is infinite. We talk about it, but I don't know how much we really realize it's infinite, and it cannot expand unless we choose. So it doesn't matter who chose it. The minute we choose it, it's now available for others to choose it, step into it, and be it. So what is your most craziest, ridiculous ask on the planet that you've never even thought you could ask for, that you can ask for now? And by you asking, the universe can now deliver. I get it's now the space, guys. We got to step up. We got to be so much more of the gift we actually be and the greatness that we be, and really put away all the lies, the inventions, and everything that we've said about our bodies. And time to play. Play, play, play.
Melty, melty, melty. I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Datu. So grateful
Thank
for
you
you.
so much, man. Me too.
And thank you,
See
everyone.
you soon. Thank you all.
I look forward to it. Bye.